Good evening, everybody. I want to thank you for being on our webinar tonight. Our primary topic is Get Slim by Summer, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of different things that I think can help improve your health. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself and our office. I'm Greg Peter. I'm a chiropractor. I've been in practice in Huntsville, Texas for 40 years. I'm president of Huntsville Physical Medicine Institute. We're a very holistically minded office that provides chiropractic care as well as weight loss and a number of other physical medicine types of things, and we try to do everything naturally. The information tonight, folks, I think can truly change your life, and you're going to have an opportunity at the end tonight to be able to have a health checkup to see how things are going. But I first wanted to we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about health, wellness, weight loss, just to cover all of those things, because so many times we're told that we need to lose weight so that we can get healthy, but it's actually we need to get healthy so that we can lose weight, and we can help keep it off if we do that better. I've been doing lectures, workshops for a number of years now, and when we're in a live audience, I typically ask for the audience to define health. And I get a lot of answers that are usually about the same each time, as well as you feel good, you look good, you have energy, those types of things. And those are all really, really good answers. But, that's how we live our life. But folks, that's not what health really is. If we look in Dorland's Medical Dictionary, which is sort of the Webster's Dictionary of the health field, it says that health is 100% function of our body 100% of the time, and not that we just don't have symptoms or any obvious illness in there. So there's a huge difference in those two things. Did you know that only 10% of our nervous system actually perceives pain? That means that I could have up to 90% of my nerves interfered with and not have pain. And that would be true. I'd be dead if I had that much interference. But see, when God programmed us, He programmed us to be well. He doesn't want us to be sick. And so what He did was he made something for us that are called things that are called symptoms. And so symptoms are much like the smoke alarm in your house. Now, I'm sure that each and every one of you have one or more of these in your house. Now, I hope that none of these would ever go off, but let's just say tonight when you're fast asleep, the smoke alarm goes off. I would imagine you're not going to go out into the hallway or wherever your smoke alarm is. You climb up on a chair, you grab it, you pull the battery out, you throw it down, and you go back to sleep. You wouldn't be doing that, right? Because your house is on fire, right? So you're going to get everybody up, you're going to get out of the house, you're going to locate where the fire is, you're calling 911. And see, that's what symptoms are in our body. They are the smoke alarm. So if all we do is if we're having pain is to take a pain reliever or something like that, if we have a gut ache or whatever, and we just take something to help with that, all we're doing is taking the battery out of our smoke alarm. See, folks, we're still on fire. We just won't know it till it's like a 4-alarm blaze. Okay, we really need to understand that. We need to really realize that our health is a whole lot more than just how I feel. So the question I ask is, if there was a way that you could be happier and healthier, live a better life, and not have to take as many medications as you're taking right now, who would want to know more about that? And I hope that is you. We're all here for a reason tonight. It might be a particular health concern, whether it's losing weight or whatever, and that's either for you or maybe a family member or someone like that. But we're here for a reason. And so what we want to hope to do tonight is be able to help you become a healthier, happier individual. One of the things that I don't want this talk to do is that you go, gosh, that's sure interesting. And there were some good ideas and stuff like that. He was very charismatic, etc. And then 2 days from now, you've went back to the same old stuff. Okay. So what I'm hoping that will happen tonight is that I want to be able to educate you and I want to motivate and inspire you so that you can truly take the massive actions that you may need to take to change your life and change your health. You know, most of us have made New Year's resolutions. Did you know that 8 out of 10 of the top reasons or top New Year's resolutions are all about our health? But did you know that by January 15, most of us have already forgotten those resolutions? And I know on the other side of the camera you might be smiling about that because we've all done that, haven't we? Well, let's just, I'll do that in 2021. And we don't want to procrastinate about our health. And so I can promise you, if you apply what we talk about tonight, that you will be healthier. The United States ranks 40th to 48th in the world in health and longevity. 25 years ago when I started doing lectures, we were actually 13th in the world. We've dropped 30 places in literally, a couple of decades. America shouldn't be that. We have more hospitals, more doctors, we have more stuff, and yet we rank 40th or 48th in the world. Now, one of the things that I'm not saying is that if you do take a medication, that you should just take them and throw them in the toilet tonight after this webinar and flush them down the toilet. Those are things that can help keep you alive. They'll help you wake up tomorrow. And so those are things that can be very necessary. But what we want to do is try and make our health and longevity better than what it's doing right now. In the past 2 years, it was the first time in more than a century that life expectancy in the United States actually went down. So we need to understand that we're not necessarily getting healthier. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes. And again, I can't see you, so I want you to please close your eyes, and I want you to take a couple of nice deep breaths in there. Just sort of relax. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start to visualize where am I right now? How do I feel? How do I look? What do I feel about my health? Where am I in my life? And I want you to just digest that for a little bit. And I want you to keep your eyes closed, okay? Now, I want you to think about how I am right now. And if that's not a really pretty picture, just envision where am I going to be 6 months from now, or 5 years from now, 10, 20, 30 years from now. And I want you to truly think about that and just see where you might be if it continues the way that you're going. Okay? So now, if you didn't like that picture, we need to make some changes. Okay? You can open your eyes. But remember what Albert Einstein said about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. Okay? He also said that if you want to change your life, you have to change roads or at least change lanes. If we're in Huntsville, Texas, and so let's just say that we wanted to go to New Waverly, Texas. And so everybody agrees with me, and I say, okay, let's go. And I pointed to the north. Now, could we get to New Waverly by going north? Well, we could, but it's not very likely, right? Because we'd have to go all the way around the world. But if we just were pointed in the right direction, and if we headed south, we could actually walk there tonight. Okay? So we need to make sure that we're doing right things, and that we're trying to do them in the right direction. There's a patient of mine. She's 86 years old, and she told me, and this was something that was very captivating. She said, "If you want to live to 100, you better start preparing for that right now." Okay, and it's so true. Now, she's been preparing to reach 100 for a long time. She just didn't start when she was 86. So it doesn't really make any difference whether we're 86 or we're 8.6 years old or wherever we are. We need to start making preparations so that we can get there. Some of you might say, well, I don't want to live to be 100. But, regardless of what our age is when the Lord calls us home, I think all of us would rather have a lot of vim and vigor throughout our lives and then pass on, rather than laying in a bed for the last 10 years of our life where someone's having to take care of us. All we can do is drool and sleep. And I don't think anybody really wants that. And so one of the things that I'd mentioned earlier, at the end of the webinar, you'll have an opportunity to actually have a health checkup in our office. It's 936schedule.com. And you can also call our office at 936-291-2111. That screening, that examination will be at no charge, just as a gift for you being on the webinar tonight. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But like I said earlier, we're on this webinar for a reason. Okay. Again, it might be for myself, it might be for someone in my family or something like that. But we're here for a reason. And one of the things that I want to really go over, because how many of you, if you are here and you're wanting to lose weight, that you've already been on several diets, and you lose the weight and it comes right back, or you don't lose the weight or whatever. And one of the things is, and it's hard to fathom, but it's because our why, excuse me, isn't big enough. And moms, you're the pillar of society today. You always put yourself last. You want to make sure that your family is well taken care of, and if there's any time, money, energy, anything left, that then you say you'll take care of yourself. And the thing is that you really need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself up front, because so many people do depend on you that if you were to break down, then you can't take care of your family. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're doing that. But also, I think you're setting a bad example, because you're sort of showing to whoever that that your health isn't a priority, that even in your noble efforts, that you're setting up something that says that, hey, I'll just that I don't really need to do anything to take care of myself. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to have food on the table for your family, or that they're clothed or whatever, but you really need to make sure that you understand how important that you really are in being able to take care of everyone. A classic example, my father was a smoker. He smoked. I can't remember a time growing up that he didn't smoke. He tried to quit a couple of times, and it just wasn't enough. But it wasn't, and he even called them cancer sticks. I mean, he knew what they were doing to him. But it wasn't until his first grandson was born, and his grandson was just a few months old, and he got up one morning and he was hacking and coughing like he normally did, and he told his wife, my stepmom, if I'm going to teach this kid how to hunt and fish, I better throw those son of a bitches away. Pardon my language, but that's what he said. He threw his cigarettes away, and he never wanted to smoke again. So he finally got a why that was big enough for him to be able to change his life and his health. He was already developing some signs of COPD. He didn't smoke, but 18 years later he died due to lung disease. And so what if his why was enough? That his own health was enough of a priority that he would have quit smoking years and years earlier, that he could have watched his grandkids grow up and his great grandkids and stuff like that. So you know what, we don't want to wait until it's too late to be able to do that. We need to make sure that we take care of ourselves, today and tomorrow. So there are basically three things that we have to balance our health here, or the balance of health. The first one is structure and alignment. Okay, that's really the foundation to all of this. We understand that if I'm like this, that is not a very good or healthy thing, is it? The second thing is chemistry, and the third is our neurology. See, the importance of neurology is the fact that, well, when I'm doing workshops and lectures, I normally ask also, what's the most important organ in your body? And most of the people that I get an answer every time is it's our heart. And our heart is very important. We obviously understand if our heart isn't beating, we're not doing too well, are we? Heart disease is the number one cause of death in the United States. But do you know how long your heart will work without nerve impulses going to it? It's not a year, it's not a day, it's not a minute, it's about that long. See, our nervous system, our brain is what runs our body. And so it's crucial for us to be healthy that our brain can communicate with our body at 100%. And so that's why the neurology, the electricity in our body, is so very important. And so what we do in our office is we we evaluate, or we do evaluations and examinations, sometimes even x-rays, that can help see what your posture is, what your structure, your alignment is. Is it good or is it bad? We also do tests to check with our neurology. And so those are things that are extremely important for us to be able to do. We'll talk about the chemistry side of it in just a moment. But what I first wanted to do was talk about the 4 body types. Now, I'm not going to go into detail this evening about those, but those are these, and it's something we do in our office. The first is the adrenal or stress body type. Now, that's what most Americans are, or a lot of Americans are, because of our lifestyles. Then the second one is thyroid body style. The third one is hormonal, and the fourth one is liver. Now, we're all one of those body types, and so what we need to make sure that we're doing is that we're putting the right foods, the right chemistry in our body, and as much as that is making sure that we're not putting foods in that we shouldn't. There are a number of very healthy foods that certain body types we shouldn't eat. And so that's a lot of what we're trying to find out in here. And like I said, we get into more detail in the office after we do the evaluation. So that evaluation, again, as I had said earlier, is will be at no charge. That's our gift. It's 936schedule.com. And again, there'd be no charge for that comprehensive examination. So now many of you are on the webinar for the weight loss to get slim by summer. And so I wanted to talk in detail about that right now. The program we use is something called ChiroThin. ChiroThin is something that's a totally natural weight loss program. We used to use phentermine and things like that in our office. We found that this program actually works as good, if not better, and we don't have any of the potential side effects of taking the medications, taking the drugs. It's about a 40-day program. It's very user-friendly. There's counseling that goes on and everything. We also, what we found is that in females, the average weight loss is 24 pounds. In males, it's 31 pounds. Now, I know it's not fair. Guys can lose weight a little bit faster, but it's an extremely effective program. Now a lot of times, you've been on a weight loss program, a diet before, and all you can eat is dirt or pine bark or something like that. And I want to tell you that's not the case. Here's a recipe booklet, and let me just show you some of the things in here. There's oven chicken salad. There's blackened chicken, balsamic chicken. We have tilapia, sea bass. There's beef barbecue. There are a lot of things in there, so that the program is a very easy program to do that. Now, I know you have a number of questions about that, and in fact, what we found is that about 95% of our people have the same questions. So we've developed a video that you come into our office and you watch that. It typically answers all of your questions, and then we answer whatever the questions you might have, and we see that if you're actually a candidate and would benefit from the program. But first off, what we have to do is we need to change our mindset. We talked about we need to have a bigger why. Okay, we need to understand that symptoms are just the smoke alarm in our body, and that we need to take big steps to change our life. We just need to make sure that we can live as long and as healthy as we possibly can. Function is the number one thing. Okay, we need to make sure that we get better functioning, and then the body is healthier, and then typically we can lose the weight and everything there. So I really do appreciate everybody's time and attention tonight. I want you to tell other friends and family members to watch this webinar. It will be available for a short period of time. I look forward to seeing you in our office. Again, if you'd like to schedule an appointment, it's 936schedule.com. I greatly appreciate you. Have a great evening. God bless. Be safe.